Supermom Kris Jenner, and we're going to get to your book in just a moment. There are just two things that I have to ask you about.
Yes.
So, as you've been going from show to show, you've been saying that there was no money made off of the wedding. So, other than the reality show, the regular, Kardashian show, and the wedding special, and a few pictures sold to magazines, there was no money made off of the wedding?
Well, there was money made off the wedding with the pictures that were sold, the wedding pictures, to People magazine, and there was money made, our regular salaries that we get for shooting Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which then turned into the wedding special, yes. At the end of the day, they used that money to pay towards the wedding, and then Kim paid a lot of her own money to add to what was still, it was a very big deal, and so she still owed money. So there was no profit from the money. Okay. So she didn't make bazillions of dollars at the end of the day, not in a trillion years. And that's what's so, unfortunate, is these numbers are printed, like, people are just plucking them out of the sky.
How come you guys didn't get in front of that to,
we mentioned that many times. I think people, because it was mixed, it wasn't a big sensational story. It was like, this is printed one day, Kim made, $42,000 billion trillion off of her wedding. Well, it's so ridiculous that you think, who's going to pay attention to that? You say, no, that's not true, or you tweet it, and that's the end of it. But then when something like this happens, all those stories are perpetuated.
And then the gifts, because I know, like, Juliana and Bill, they were invited, and she went through her cancer, her
she's a dear friend.
Cancer situation. And so I'd ask them, I said, well, so you didn't go to the wedding? I leaned into them. This was when we'd gone to commercial, when they were here. And I said, well, what did you get them, for a gift? And Juliana was like, have you seen the list? Everything is so expensive. So now what happens with the gifts?
Well, I'm assuming, I haven't spoken to Kim about gifts, so this is just my take on it. I'm assuming she'll send things back. And she's also, I know that the other day she made a very generous donation to a wonderful, deserving charity that she's involved with, and which she does very often, very quietly. But she did this one in honor of all the gifts she had given. So she took the amount of the things that she had registered for and gave more than that to a wonderful charity at home. And, she does things like that. Kim, first of all, has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know, and she's beyond generous. So she'll do the right thing.
We like your family. You just have to, you just have to forgive, because we've invested so much time.
I totally understand.
I feel like, we want to know stuff. So now you
got it.
Kris has a new book out.
Me too.
And you wrote in the book about an affair that you had on your late husband, Robert Kardashian, with a guy that you thought would then turn into the next man, but you walked in on the next man in bed with another woman.
It really sucked. Yeah, that was a bad, bad time in my life. I had met Robert when I was a teenager. We had been together for many, many years and had a lot of kids, and I think I just kind of grew into a really bad place in my marriage, that I wasn't really old enough to realize that marriage does have its ups and downs. And I talk a lot about that in the book to kind of give other people, an insight into how I was feeling. I walk you through my whole divorce, and I had an affair, and how horrible it was on my self-esteem, and how it all turned out. And I thought, like, life was just over. And, as soon as I really sort of surrendered my life to my kids and where I should be at home and my marriage, and to God, and to putting all my priorities back into the right place, I
became happier.
I became much happier as a person, but I learned from all those mistakes. I do call my divorce my greatest, regret in my life. I mean, that was my lowest of lows, when you feel like you've made such a mistake.
It took that to get you here, and you can say what you want about Kris Jenner, but one thing that you are is a fearless tiger mother, and as a mother, that's all we can be, for our children.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get that. The book also sheds some light on your friendship with the late Nicole Simpson and the murder. You explained that Nicole had pictures in a safe. Can you tell us that story a bit?
I think everybody eventually saw those pictures, but right around the time when she was killed, she had asked me to come over to her home, and she wanted to share all of that with me, but then she hadn't done so previously. So, and I couldn't go, and we were supposed to have lunch that day that she was she was murdered. And so that will always be a huge regret of mine, that I think anybody that has ever had a friend, and Nicole was the most amazing girlfriend and the best mother I had ever known. It was all about her kids. That was her life.
Yeah.
She was the best mom, the best daughter, the best sister. And you know, when you have a friend like that and something terrible happens, all of us, I'm sure, that were her friends felt like, gosh, was there something that I could have done? And any time that they do bring into like the evidence of domestic violence, for example, you know, you feel like, wow, why didn't I see that? Why I'm a terrible, terrible friend that I didn't notice that.
Are you a better friend or a better mother?
I think I'm a better mom. My kids are my life.
I understand.
You know?
So have you spoken to OJ at all since the trial?
I have not. I have not spoken to him.
Do you ever catch up with Sydney and Justin?
I stay close to Judy and Lou, Nicole's parents, and her sister Tanya. I talked to Tanya. I just was texting with her yesterday.
Yeah.
Who's an amazing young woman, and goes around and gives speaking engagements. And she's got such an amazing family who've been through, you know, a lot and are just really just beautiful people.
You were able to have your way with your daughters, you know, the three stars of the show, but you have two coming up behind them.
Kendall and Kylie.
Kendall and Kylie. And Bruce is definitely, it looks like he's ready to come in and challenge you in the direction that you put his daughters.
He will.
So I can't wait to see Bruce get that backbone. Kris,
once and for all.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
And having conversation with us. Kris Kris Jenner's new book is called Kris Jenner, All Things Kardashian. It's available in bookstores now. And everyone in the studio audience is going home with their copy. Best of luck to you. You keep it here. Up next, Gabourey Sidibe.